Hey everybody, Larry Young here again with another segment of OLaMan Living Life with Purity. Now I'm in my studio right now. It's about 4:03 in the morning, and I figured I'd come on down and try to get this segment here taped before I got attacked by the birds who have been incessantly attacking the window outside my studio here. I think you can hear it right now. It's after 4 a.m. It's pitch black outside. I don't know what's going on, but as soon as I turned that camera on and the microphones and sat down, the birds hit. So I don't know how they're knowing what's going on, but we're just going to push on through because, like I'm going to talk about, we're in a war. So there's been a lot of crap going on in the world right now, and especially on our streets and campuses. You have people out there chanting and running around and excluding other people and taking away the safety that we have established as a society for these things to go on. They've corrupted that space, and they're doing things that are not only mean, but show their intention as to what they want. Now, they give a list of demands, but one of these ultimate demands is the elimination of the state of Israel. They don't want a two-state solution. They want a one-state solution, and that means getting rid of Israel in their minds, not the other way around. So Israel has asked for one place on the face of the earth. They were given that, and the other folks who are against them have multiple countries that they can go find harbor in, but these countries don't want them either because these people are messed up. They are terrorists. They have a bad idea. They have a bad way of going about their business, and we're going to see where this all ends. I don't know. I really don't know. But this has been weighing on me, and I've been trying to get this out. But I want to talk about a message I received in 2001, early part of May, when I was up on the hill with Father Havel. And it was the only time it ever happened, but we basically shared a locution. He heard what I heard, or most of it, but he didn't see what I saw. But he did experience, and he knew exactly what it was that I had heard, and word for word. And that was a great situation because he knew in that moment that I wasn't making this up. Something was happening. And so he truly believed, and he changed after that moment, and I did too. But what the angel Gabriel came to us while we were praying the rosary, Gabriel came and never saw him, but could hear him. And I know his voice. He's given me instructions several times. Now, Gabriel, in my mind, has a great sense of humor. He's a teacher type. He likes to teach, and he likes you to use your skills to get the message, because he's not just giving you a message, he's trying to form you for future type communications. He wants you to understand the way in this is given and the manner and what it means. So in this message, Gabriel said, there's going to be a war like no other fought on your soil. He said, the enemy is already here. The target is your children. And when he said the target is your children, I saw school buses and places of play and gathering for these, and I saw like little explosions happening and people running and screaming. Now, that's not to say exactly that the kids' buses are going to get blown up and things like that, but they're after the kids, and they're going to try to torment them in a way that seems like they're being nice to them. And that's what they've done, is they've indoctrinated these kids with this ideology that just doesn't make any sense. And so going after the children is a way that they can change their thinking to lay the groundwork for what it is that they want to do. And I think right now they're ready to do it, and they are doing it. If this isn't the final run, this is a test run towards what they're going to do, because they won't give up. And we have to be very, very considerate about their needs, because that's the way Western society is very forgiving and wanting to give people a pass on things. And that's a real mistake that they make. That's a weakness that isn't good. Now, when Gabriel said that the target is your children and the goal is the elimination of Israel, he said many states are quietly working behind the scenes towards this goal. Now, when he said states, he meant like different countries, and their leaders are quietly behind the scenes, the things that you don't see in these meetings, these behind closed doors things where the media is not there. They're quietly talking about the unraveling of the Jewish state of Israel that was started after World War II. And they would like to just dissolve it all entirely and kick the Jews out and tell them that they have to go pound sand someplace else. Now, if you look at the state of Israel and then the Gaza Strip and what's going on there, you see, especially if you go to places like Tel Aviv and other places, you'll see modern cities on the Jewish side. If you go onto the Gaza Strip side, even though these people have been given billions of dollars in aid and help, their communities haven't been raised up. They don't have, tall buildings. They don't have signs of growth. They don't have signs of good going on in the communities. There's a lot of trouble. They have problems with their power delivery because they spend all their money building tunnels and buying bombs and rockets and stuff like that they could throw at Israel. Not buying food and medicine and building parks and things like that for kids. A kid will have a empty lot. They consider that a park. They're happy to have that. And, I don't blame them. Kids need to play. We all need to play. But the goal is the elimination of Israel. Because once they can eliminate Israel, now they can go after the churches, the Catholic churches, the Christian churches, all believers that don't follow the Quran. Because anyone who doesn't follow the Quran is an infidel and needs to be killed. Don't believe me. Believe what their statements say. Ask any imam. There was one over in Dearborn this last week who wanted to chastise some of the protesters for saying death to America and things like that. He says, we're all about, life and beauty and things like that. But he would not condemn the statements about the elimination of Israel. Oh, don't ask me to do that because, we're after beauty and growing things up, but we just don't know. We just don't want Israel. We just get rid of these Jews. Well, if they get rid of the Jews, they get rid of the state of Israel, and they can diminish that, the next thing is they can come after Christianity and Catholics in particular. And don't think it's not happening. Look at Northern Africa, what's going on. You got things going on in Sudan and Niger right now that are just incredible as far as the killings going on. No one's covering it, but they're going in and wiping out entire villages for sport. They're laughing as they're killing these people, these babies, these mothers, these men, just leaving their bodies to decay in the sun for the birds and the other animals to come and eat them. They're laughing about it. They think this is what the Christians deserve. So, and those populations are about 50-50 as far as the centering of Christians versus Muslims. So the Muslims have got a real mean streak going on with them in some of these places. I'm not to say that every Muslim is a bad person, but the good Muslims need to condemn this other hateful rhetoric that's going on, but they're not doing it because they're kind of afraid of being canceled too. So everyone's afraid of what other people think about them, not worrying about what God thinks of them. So that's the only thing you have to worry about is what does God think of you and would God be proud of you? And would you be proud to show your soul to God on your judgment day? And I like to say that we tattoo our souls. We put a permanent image on our souls when we make statements and we take positions. It's okay to take a position as long as it's solid and it points to good. Put that, mark on your soul as big and broad as possible as you can. Don't equivocate on these things. Stand up. Be real. Let people know who you are. Because God does. So they want to eliminate God in society. They're working hard at it. They want to make government be the head everything. That's the goal for everyone is to love the state and diminish God because God's for weak people. But the angel did also say that this will be a war that will not be won with hammer blows but with feather strokes. Now, people have heard me say that before. Hammer blows, not feather strokes. What you have to do is you have to determine who you are, make a statement, make your position, let other people know, and then behave like that. Your actions are going to speak louder than words. Your actions are going, not the words. Because words are losing meaning. Because people will change words around on their own whim and say, oh, that's not what I meant, or that's not what that word means anymore. Well, they're being really fast and loose with the facts. So we have to be very, very careful about these things. You can't allow these other bad ideas, you can't give them air. When people say these things that are just crazy in front of you, you got to say, no, that's not what that means. That's not what this is. You're mistaken. Let me show you. And if they don't want to listen to that, walk away. Have you ever gone to the store when you had a project at home, or you wanted to make a new recipe that you saw or something like that, but you need some ingredients? And you get to the store and what you're looking for, exactly what you thought, isn't there. So you start looking around to see what else is there that might do the job. And you start looking around and you end up taking something home with you. You think this is going to be the fix-it. This is going to be the game changer for you. You get home, it's the wrong thing. It won't work. You open up the package and you thought that what you saw on the label would be something that would get the job done, but it won't. So you didn't read the labels, or you didn't go far enough in your investigation, and you went home with the wrong thing. We do that a lot right now in our society, in our communities, when we try to be, using our Christian generosity, we try to be enlightened, and we want to be inclusive of everybody because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Good luck with that these days. It's a really bad plan when you don't read the labels on these people. Maya Angelou was a wonderful philosopher and poet who I think was in the 50s and 60s, had most of her productive work, the 70s, probably into the 80s. And I think she died, as far as her main works, she was working all throughout. But I think she died about 10 years ago. But she had said something that always resonated with me, and it was that in the first 15 minutes when you meet somebody new, they will show you and tell you who they are. You will know from the first 15 minutes. Now, what we, as people trying to be kind, get into is that we will meet somebody and think we have an understanding of who they are, and then they'll go and they'll do something that completely blows your narrative that you had about them. Says, well, I didn't think he was like that. I didn't see that. Well, it's because you made an excuse for them. You didn't believe them when they told you who they were. You said, well, nobody could be that bad. No one would ever be like that. Well, yeah, they can, and they are. So people will lie to you. They will hide the truth. You have to be aware of that. Don't make excuses for them when they do lie to you and they use you or they take advantage of you. Don't make excuses for them and say, oh, he was just under a lot of pressure that day, or she didn't understand what she was doing. No, they knew what they were doing. They wanted to get an easy fix on something. They wanted to take what you had, or they wanted to diminish you in the process. And they're fine with it. And that's what these protesters are doing out there. When they're walking up and down the street screaming out, I am Hamas, well, we should believe them. And Hamas is basically a terrorist organization, like Hezbollah. These are enemies of our state, of our government, of us. And they're here screaming at the top of their lungs that I am Hamas. Well, what should we do with that? I think we ought to round them all up and put them in isolation someplace and let them cool down. And give them the benefit of the doubt that they're immature and they don't know what the heck they're talking about. Now, they put a bunch of people in prison for many, many years just for walking around inside the Capitol building. One grandma was just picking up garbage trying to be nice. No, they got her. I think she got 3 years. She didn't break any windows. She didn't sit there and shout anything. She was just walking and seeing the inside of the Capitol building. She was let in by the security. They were walking around with her and showing her things. They hugged her. Well, the woman's spending time in a federal prison right now. And right now, I'll bet you dollars to donuts that there's not a single one of those agitators is still incarcerated right now if they're not back out on the street and back home in their tent or whatever it is. They don't even live there at the campus. But the state won't do anything because they want to be nice and they don't want to piss these people off. Now, why are they so damn afraid of the Muslims? I think we all know. There's a lot of people in their group and under their plan that have a real mean streak. They like knives. They like cutting heads off because infidels deserve that. That's how they're trained. They use words that aren't the least bit constructive. You ask them about a plan to change or to make the corrections needed. And they say, no, just eliminate Israel. You kill all the Jews, get rid of the state of Israel, and everything's going to be fine. No, it hasn't. It has been fine for these folks all throughout their existence. Even their cousins and brothers in other countries don't want them because they're too unwieldy and too, they just don't know what these people are going to do. They're the crazy cousins. They don't want to have them over for dinner either. So Maya Angelou says you got to, believe people when they tell you don't make excuses for them. So don't be making excuses for these people. You got to know who you are, and then you got to declare yourself. It's better to know than not know. The enemy doesn't value what you value. Stop thinking like they believe the same things you do. They don't. They don't value what Christians and Catholics and, other people on the edge of belief feel. And I'm talking to a lot of people just looking for information out there right now. They aren't thinking like you. They don't have a short-term goal. They're looking at a long-term goal. And the people in the West are always looking for creature comforts, immediate stuff. All these parents out there that raise their children. Well, you screwed up, guys. You should have been raising adults. Kids don't need your help. They're already perfect at what they do. They don't need your help being a kid. They need your help growing up to be an adult. So stop raising children and start raising adults. Get your poop in a group. Make sure you know who your people are around you and who you are. Because when the next step takes place, and this is just leading up, this is just all like pushing the envelope kind of stuff, kind of trying to test their boundaries with these kids. These people are truly dumbasses. And I'm not saying that pejoratively. I mean, they fit the description of it. They fit the definition. And they might be getting an education, but we don't know exactly what that education is and what the words are that's being told to indoctrinate these people and to get them to be as angry as they are and to use the rhetoric that they do about them being Hamas. That needs to be taken care of. The country needs to address that because if we don't, our country's gone. So know who you are. Pay attention. Don't let the enemy seduce you into thinking that they're all that kind and comfortable with you, because they're not. They would not go to your church. They would not go to your services. They don't think as much of you as you think of them. This is what they're trained to do. This is in their words. This is in their books. This is in their teaching. There was an imam in Dearborn the other day was criticizing protesters for saying death to America and things like this. We don't want death. Well, It sure seemed like it. And their words are calling for it. So, but the one thing this imam wouldn't do is he wouldn't put down or say anything to negate their chants about death to Israel. You would talk about death to everyone else, and don't hurt America, but they're fine with the destruction and the annihilation of Israel, because if they get rid of Israel, they get rid of the foundations for all Christian faith, and then they're going to come after that then too, and they're going to make Christians be the laughingstock of the world and try to eliminate that because it goes against their designs on the state. So, know who you are, know who they are, believe the words, and remember, I love you, and I'll be back.